41 million. Let that number sink in. That's how many of your neighbors, friends, maybe even family members, still buy into QAnon. It's not just an obscure internet oddity. It's a narrative cooked up on anonymous message boards in 2017. The story? A shadowy government insider named Q, supposedly leaking proof that a satanic cabal secretly runs the world, and only Donald Trump could save us. 6 years later, after a devastating Capitol riot, countless failed prophecies, and endless debunking, the staggering number of believers hasn't budged. Why does this intricate lie still feel like undeniable truth to so many, even when it tears families apart and influences our elections? It's a puzzle we need to solve. Our brains, bless their hearts, despise loose ends. When the world throws us a curveball, a global pandemic, a market crash, an election upset, we instinctively crave a coherent narrative, something that stitches every frayed thread together. QAnon, in its twisted genius, offers precisely that. It hands you a comic book plot. Every villain has a name, every problem, a simple cure. Arrest the bad guys, and everything snaps back to normal. Psychologists call this proportionality bias, the tendency to assume big events must have equally big causes. A global cabal of evil masterminds feels far more satisfying than the messy reality of random human error or systemic failures. Once that seductive lens clicks into place, every news headline, every glitch, every unexplained event becomes secret evidence. A cargo ship stuck in the Suez, cover for child trafficking tunnels, a power outage in Rome, about seizing servers. The QAnon theory never has to utter, "I don't know," and that unwavering certainty, in an uncertain world, is incredibly addictive. Beyond answers, there's a deep human craving for safety. Belief acts like a security blanket for the mind. When the world feels chaotic and overwhelming, joining a group boasting inside knowledge magically restores personal control. You're no longer a helpless bystander. You become a digital foot soldier in a covert war against ultimate evil. Researchers at UC Davis found that people with high anxiety, particularly about death or tragic events, are far more inclined to embrace sweeping conspiracy plots. QAnon masterfully taps into these primal fears, offering followers a vital role: decode Q drops, share memes, and most powerfully, save the children from a horrifying fate. It morphs passive fear into active urgent purpose, transforming anxious observers into heroes, even if their battlefield is confined to a Facebook feed. This promise of protecting the innocent, however baseless, is a potent motivator. Finally, let's talk about the irresistible pull of belonging. It's that fundamental human need for connection, for a tribe. QAnon chat rooms, Telegram channels, and marathon live streams aren't just echo chambers. They're 24/7 digital potlucks of encouragement. Newcomers, perhaps drawn in by a single YouTube recommendation, aren't met with skepticism. They're greeted like family. They get affectionate nicknames, praise for doing their own research, and a warm embrace into a community that feels authentic. Remember lockdown? When physical communities vanished, these digital campfires blazed brighter. A PRRI survey showed belief spiking hardest in suburban counties, places where traditional churches, bowling leagues, and local coffee shops were already struggling or shuttering. QAnon didn't just offer information. It filled a gaping vacuum, stepping into a role once occupied by local institutions, providing identity and purpose when people felt most adrift. But let's be real, none of this scales to 41 million without political oxygen. When elected officials, public figures, and media personalities speak in QAnon dog whistles, deep state, global elites, or the emotionally charged Save the Children, they're laundering fringe code, integrating it into mainstream discourse. Fundraising emails pick up the rhetoric, podcasts monetize the outrage, and algorithms do the rest, pushing it further. Even after platforms banned Q-specific hashtags and accounts, the narrative didn't die. It simply shapeshifted. It mutated into anti-vax movements, morphed into election fraud communities, and infiltrated wellness groups, always one step ahead of moderation. This lie, this fantasy, survives because opportunists, whether for political power, financial gain, or sheer influence, keep transplanting it into new host bodies, ensuring its insidious spread continues. So, the next time you scroll past a cousin's post urging you to wake up, sheeple, take a breath. Remember, the hook isn't simply stupidity or lack of intelligence. It's a powerful collision of three human needs: certainty, safety, and community, all supercharged by algorithms and cynically amplified by leaders who profit, economically and politically, from the chaos they sow. The antidote isn't just a slapdown of facts, which often pushes people further away. Instead, it calls for steady empathy, patient questions that invite dialogue, and, most importantly, better, more compelling stories grounded firmly in verifiable reality. If we can't offer those alternatives, those 41 million could easily become 50, 60, or even 100. And a democracy can't outvote a fantasy that feels like home to so many. If understanding these dynamics helped you make sense of someone in your life, please pass this along. Hit subscribe for more breakdowns of misinformation. Share your experiences in the comments below. And maybe, just maybe, consider sending that cousin a calm, curious question instead of a hot, reactive retweet. Let's try to connect, not just correct.